Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV. Today we bring to you the Border Security Force Amendment Bill 2011, which seeks to expand the operational area of the Border Guarding Force, BSF. To discuss the issue, I have with me Mr. E.N. Ram Mohan, former Director General, BSF, and Mr. P.K. Mishra, former Additional Director General, BSF. Now for the headlines. The bill expands role of BSF, allows it to operate in internal security duties. Allows BSF to operate all across India. And the Parliamentary Standing Committee expresses concerns on powers of search, seizure, which the bill seeks to grant to the BSF. The Border Security Force Amendment Bill 2011 seeks to expand the role of the BSF and allows the force to operate all across the territory of India. As of now, the BSF has limitation of being deployed in other areas as the law allows it only to guard international borders.
In times of general election, there is a pressure on the Home Ministry to grant adequate security force for the conduct of elections. During such times, the Home Ministry has no choice but to withdraw the BSF from its defined duties and use it for election-related duties. The government does not have a legal framework to do this. In order to make deployment of border security force in other security-related exercise, the Home Ministry proposes the Border Security Force Amendment Bill.
We are also raising a large number of reserve battalions so that the need for rotational change, rest, relief, and recuperation will be met. As more battalions are raised, we hope that the BSF will adhere to the mandated number of companies that shall be on training at any given time.
The bill extends the area of operation of the BSF to any place within the territory of India. This is being done to facilitate the deployment of BSF in areas other than borders of India, which may include counter-insurgency operations, anti-Naxal operations, internal security duties like elections, communal rights, maintenance of law and order, and to assist during natural calamities.
Now BSF, if they are to be given full powers of arrest all over India, where are they going to be deployed all over India? They will be deployed only when they are called in or sent in by the Center for Law and Order Duties. So when they are sent in for law and order, the state police is there. They are the people who should arrest. So with every platoon of BSF, a sub-inspector of police should be attached. Who will arrest? Giving the power so much to the BSF is unconstitutional. It's not correct.
The Border Security Force is a border guarding agency and was established in 1965 to guard India's land borders during peacetime and preventing international crime. The Border Security Force works under the administrative control of the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is one of the many law enforcement agencies in India.
Already the Border Security Force is deployed in the hinterland area for counter-insurgency and anti-Naxal operations. But they do not have the powers of search and seizure and arrest. And for that, the proposed amendment wants to give such powers to them. With camera person Gajendra, Aruna Thakur, Rajya Sabha TV.
What will be the impact of the bill on the character, duties and responsibilities of the BSF? Straight away to you, Mr. Ram Mohan, Professor, former DG, BSF. Sir, the impact on the border guarding force. You've been there throughout. You've seen it, done it, and been there. What is going to be the impact on the overall force?
I don't think there's any problem of impact on the force, because the BSF, which is deployed in the borders, have got the powers of search and seizure and arrest to a limited distance from the international borders, depending upon the way the particular area is populated. The Rajasthan border, I think it is about 30 or 40, 50 kilometers.
50 kilometers.
In other states like Bengal, Assam, it's only 3 or 5 kilometers,
15.
sometimes 15 kilometers. And they operate both day and night, and most of the time it's at night that crossings take over. So, it is not possible to deploy state police with each unit of the BSF. That is why these powers have been given to them, specially given to them. Now, if BSF is deployed on internal security duties, like for example, in all elections BSF battalions are sent inside. BSF is also sent in when there is a very serious breakdown of law and order machinery in a particular state. So, if you give them these powers, when they go to operate in that state, like for example, if they are deployed on Naxal operations in Madhya Pradesh, they have got powers of arrest and seizure, that means, isn't it? So, as far as the force is concerned, they are trained in this, because they are trained to do it in the borders.
Yeah.
Now, once you arrest a man crossing the border, you recover some contraband from him, be it drugs or whatever it is.
Narcotics, currency,
A proper seizure list is made out and they have the training for it. After that, the whole thing is handed over to the local police or to the CBI or whoever is operating in that. For narcotics, for example, there is a separate narcotics bureau in the CBI. They come and seize those goods. If it is weapons or anything else, the police who will seize it. So, as far as that part of it is concerned, there is not a problem. The issue is a constitutional issue. When you are deployed for law and order in the state, you are under the state police. And powers of arrest and seizure is with the state police. Now, for example, in a typical law and order situation, you may not have a police sub-inspector attached with each platoon of the BSF.
Yeah.
So, they will always arrest them, certainly, naturally. Somebody is trying to, a mob is there, the BSF will intervene and arrest the people. But then immediately the thing is taken over by the state police and the arrest is shown done by the sub-inspector or SHO of that police station.
Okay. So, there is already
giving these powers to the BSF when they are deployed on law and order duties is constitutionally wrong.
So, do you agree with what
Here I do not agree with which Mr. Rammohan has just now spoken. The fact is BSF is having powers of search, seizure and arrest in all the international borders, particularly in Gujarat up to 50 kilometers and Rajasthan 30 kilometers.
We have the information.
And Assam and all 15 kilometers, but in northeast and J&K nothing has been mentioned.
the question of constitutional validity, which is a very relevant.
Validity, I will just let you know that government has already given it to SSB and ITBP the new forces, and it is there in their act number 4, serial number 4 of Act 152 of ITBP and serial number 4 of 153 of SSB.
Then why give it to BSF?
It is already existing. Now I will tell you about search, seizure and power arrest of CRPF officers and men. They are having local police power. Now BSF, now since long it is going for an international security duty, internal security duties and also for counterinsurgency operations. Now you have deployed 10 battalions in Chhattisgarh and Koraput. Do you think that while BSF goes for operation permanently in those areas for the last 2 years, a police officer will be always accompanying these companies, these battalions? It is not possible. When all these 3 forces, central government forces have already been given by central government the power of seizure, search and arrest, it is essential for BSF also to get these powers. Otherwise, their presence is just give a psychological impact on the people, but the force will definitely have a murmur in their mind to arrest or to seize any items, particularly if they are going to seize some weapons and explosives and communication safe from Naxalites. How they will do it? Do you think they will wait for police officers to arrive and to do it?
Okay, besides I get it. So, besides the constitutional issue, do you think these rights, it may be constitutionally wrong, but practically do you think BSF should be extended, should be extended the powers that it has on the border adjoining areas if they are being expected to be deployed in internal security?
I am speaking basically on the Constitution of India.
Yes, sir.
The Constitution is very good, it is healthy, it is running well. I do not think one should go for violate it. But as he has said, as Mr. Misra has said very correctly, you are deployed on counterinsurgency duties. Now, for example, we were deployed in counterinsurgency duties in Kashmir.
Right, sir.
Nobody made any special order that you can seize and arrest. We were doing everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And at a particular time, there was no police to hand it over even. Something which is seized or an insurgent who was arrested, there was no police to take it over. In the interior areas of Kashmir, the police were virtually defunct. So, in a situation like that, or as he has specifically mentioned in the case of deployment in areas like Chhattisgarh, it is not practical for the police to send a sub-inspector with each platoon of the BSF. It is practically impossible. So, in such specific areas where counterinsurgency operations are there, it is advisable that the constitutional amendment should be made up to this
Constitutional
For this
amendment should be
has
made.
to be made.
Yes.
You have to forget, you cannot forget the Constitution of India.
Right.
It is very wrong to try and bulldoze something through
Without
violating it.
amending the basic nature.
But it is, as Misra has said very correctly, you are deployed for counterinsurgency. Nobody raised this issue in those days when we were in Kashmir. But
Yes.
now in Chhattisgarh it is being raised because it is, times have changed, it is more
Awareness and
has
everything
come
is
in.
there.
So you are deployed in an interior forest area. You cannot have a sub-inspector of police with every platoon of the BSF.
On that
So in
note.
such cases, for counterinsurgency operations specifically, you should specify counterinsurgency operations, and the BSF battalion is deployed there. Then the constitutional amendment should be made, and for this limited period, powers of search, seizure, arrest
Should be
given
extended.
to the BSF.
On that note, sir,
Amritanshu,
it's time for
how-
us to head into a break. When we come back, we will talk about the concerns of the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Welcome back. The Parliamentary Standing Committee has recommended the bill for approval but has expressed concerns on the justification for granting powers of search and seizure to the BSF in the hinterland. As of now, the BSF does not have such authority.
The present law does not allow the state governments to use the BSF personnel effectively, as they do not have the powers of search and seizure and arrest in the hinterland. After the proposed law is approved by the Parliament, the Border Security Force will have the power to arrest under many sections of Criminal Procedure Code.
Please read entry 2A of list 1. It's a constitutional limitation. Deployment of central armed police forces in aid of the civil power. An executive power under Article 73 extends to legislative power. You cannot deploy except in aid of civil power. An aid of civil power is governed by repeated directions of every successive government. You must request and we will deploy. Let me read 2010. We have got a form. In this pro forma, they have to make a request and then only we deploy. Otherwise, no paramilitary force is deployed anywhere in India.
Let's look at some of the powers that BSF enjoys currently. BSF personnel are empowered to arrest, search and seize within the prescribed border limits. The prescribed limits include 80 km in the state of Gujarat, 50 km in the state of Rajasthan and 15 km in the states of West Bengal, Assam and Punjab. No such limit has been prescribed in the case of Jammu Kashmir and northeastern states.
This can be done on the request of the state or with the consent, only on the request of the state or with the consent of the state. Rather than it remain in an area of ambiguity, either we can wait till after the 16th meeting is over, or in this legislation, because after all, none of us is going to be here forever, and therefore our discussions or assurances here can at best be an aid to the interpretation of these laws. So 20 years and 30 years later, when this law is being interpreted,
The proposed amendment is an enabling provision for the BSF, and such powers are already available to Sashastra Seema Bal, Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, but the bill has acquired controversy as the states feel that it may infringe on its responsibility of administrating law and order in the state.
The proposed amendment for the BSF Act is controversial because of the conflict of centre and the state, as law and order is a state subject. Adding further, deploying BSF force in the hinterland area does not seek state request. With camera person Gajendra, Aruna Thakur, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee also expressed its concern on justification for granting powers of search, seizure and arrest to BSF personnel. Now, there is a reluctance on the part of the Standing Committee which actually expressed concern that these powers should be cautiously given. And also the Standing Committee said that you first ask the government to explain to the Standing Committee how SSB and ITBP have been able to, and what is the experience of giving them search, seizure and arrest powers. But anyway, those are things that are part of procedure, and when it comes forward, we will obviously discuss it. But as of now, there is definitely a concern on the point of state, the constitutional issue, the rights of the state and the rights of the center. And second, search, seizure and arrest. There is serious concern on this by the standing committee also. My question to you, Mr. Mishra, is do you think constitutional amendment should come first, or as explained by the Home Minister and by the Leader of Opposition in the Rajya Sabha, it is only going to happen on the request of the state? And even if it happens on the state of the request, to give them search, seizure and arrest powers, is that really what is wanted?
Yes, Amritanshu, wherever BSF is being deployed in India, it is on the request of the state as envisaged by the Honorable Home Minister of India just now. And in aid of civil government, the BSF goes and they remain under the state government consent on their request. Now BSF for the last so many years, they are there in Chhattisgarh, they are there in Koraput area, in Orissa and Chhattisgarh, they are there in Mizoram, they are there in Meghalaya and in all northeast states and Jammu and Kashmir. Now we can see about the law and order problem and counter-insurgency problem, the Naxalite problems which they are facing every day in day-to-day life. They are going for operation. Now any arrest or seizure they are making, which they are making every day now, it will be null and void if this power is not being given to BSF. And this power is existing under a notification of central government by on the request of state government. There was a notification for CRPF in 1976. That is how in CRPF Act 16, Section 16, the power of seizure, search and arrest is there with the CRPF officers like that of the police power of state governments.
I get it. I'll get in,
So
sir,
what is
I'll
there
get
for
you.
making the notification by
I understand. That's the implementation
Yes.
process, how it can
Very
happen.
correct.
But we are on the broader issue, and I'll bring in sir. Sir, the point is, it was clearly brought out that only on the request of the state, in aid of civil duties, two catchwords, catchphrases. Do you think if this is what is adhered to, then we don't really require the constitutional amendment?
I will explain this to you very clearly,
Yeah.
because I have a lot of experience of CRPF in law and order duty.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right from 67, I have worked with CRPF
Right, sir,
in,
right,
Assam,
sir.
in Assam.
Right, sir.
Now, in any law and order situation, when a CRPF battalion comes and they are deployed in the whole district, with each company and each platoon, the state police has to attach a sub-inspector. You have to close all sub-inspectors from different duties which are not with police stations, then attach them to the police station and attach them to CRPF. As he says, CRPF has now got some powers. But looking backwards now, when a force is deployed in counter-insurgency, like for example in Kashmir, or now in Chhattisgarh and Koraput and other places in Madhya Pradesh, it is not possible for the state police to put
One
sub-inspectors with every
sub-inspector.
platoon of the BSF
Yeah.
or each company of the BSF. So many battalions are deployed and they are far away from the built-up areas. It's on foot. So in places like this, where there are counter-insurgency operations, I think the constitution should be amended to this extent. But always you have to keep the constitution
That
in
won't be
mind.
possible. To amend the
No.
law and order,
No, or you must have to give issue an order, like in the case of CRPF or SSB or ITBP. But principally you have to keep it in mind that
no, even if it is
public order.
I'll give you a suggestion, sir. In a situation where it is pressed into service on the request of the state and in aiding civil, and they are empowered to have search, seize and arrest powers, then do you think we don't require any constitutional amendment?
If orders are made by the state government that you are given these powers, then it's not necessary to amend the constitution.
Exactly, that's all. On that note, I'll come back to you, sir. On that note, it's time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we'll show you an interview with former Director General BSF, Mr. Prakash Singh. Welcome back. My colleague Aruna Thakur spoke to Mr. Prakash Singh, former Director General BSF, and tried to get his point of view.
As we know that the Border Security Force is the border patrol agency for the government of India. But the proposed amendment in the bill is deploying them in the hinterland area and for the internal security matters. What is your opinion for this amendment?
It is not that central government proposes to deploy BSF on these duties. They are already being deployed on these duties with the consent, with the concurrence, and at the request of the state governments. Now, that being the situation, it is necessary that a statutory basis is given to this deployment, and it is to give this statutory basis that the government of India have proposed this amendment in the BSF Act, because whatever powers BSF has is limited to the border areas. Now, if you are deploying them somewhere else, as they are being done, as I said, with at the request and with the concurrence of the state governments, it is necessary that they have a legal basis for operating in those areas, and this amendment seeks to give that legal basis to the border security force presence in the hinterland.
As we know that the law and order is a state subject, and there is a debate going on in the parliament regarding this proposed amendment that this is a state subject and centre should not interfere in such matters. So what is your opinion in such controversial proposed amendment?
No, law and order is a state subject, agreed, but for maintaining law and order you are requesting the help of central forces. Now, those central forces must have some teeth, must have a legal basis. I mean, mere presence in an area is not enough if they cannot function effectively. If they function, I mean, if you have deployed them, say, in Hazaribagh, now there is a law and order situation, they have to operate, they have to take action. If they have no legal authority to take action, then what do? I mean, they just look like pretty, I mean, show their arms, equipment and their uniform, that's all. They are not there for show, they are there to function and exercise certain powers on the CRPC. And they cannot exercise those powers unless this enabling provision, unless this BSF Amendment Act is there.
Does the Border Security Force has the capacity to be deployed for the internal security matters for the state?
When you are operating against them, you do require certain enabling. I mean, they will not be asked to operate in a murder situation, in a dacoity situation, that let the local police handle it. But militancy, terrorism, Naxalism, it is beyond the competence, or well, it is. I mean, the state governments are not fully competent to handle these situations, and the central forces have to operate in these situations.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee wanted to know the reason for the deployment of the BSF to manage matters of internal security. I think Mr. Prakash Singh has already effectively answered that. The point you were making on the enabling clauses for SSB and ITBP, what was it, sir?
I am not aware of this. I heard of it only just now. But as he said, they have this ITBP was SSB were raised in '63.
Right, sir.
ITBP at that time was to guard the borders, stay behind role, and SSB was basically to train the border people to stay behind the enemy. Not only PSYOPs, to stay behind and fight behind the enemy lines.
Yeah.
But now the SSB is deployed on internal border guarding in Nepal. ITBP is already border guarding in UP and Arunachal Pradesh. So they have passed acts like these.
They have such empowerment.
In their powers, in their acts it has come, I think that's what you said.
See, the acts, they were not existing. Now, ITBP and SSB in the new acts, ITBP in 1992 and SSB in 2007, they made the acts, and in their section 4(1)53 and section 4(1)54, ITBP and SSB respectively, they have got this power of search, seizure and arrest all over India. This was felt, CRPF Act is quite old. That is how they thought, because CRPF is another central paramilitary force which is deployed all over India.
Yes.
So they found the difficulties. That is how, under a gazette notification of central government in 1976, this police power was given to CRPF also. Now, there is no problem which the state governments are facing from CRPF, ITBP and SSB. They are operating all over India. Similarly, BSF is also operating since long in Jammu Kashmir and northeast states. As because now it has gone to Chhattisgarh and Orissa for anti-Naxal operations, and it is going for last so many years for election duties and other duties in aid of civil government, in aid of state governments. It is felt that they should also have the same powers like that of SSB, CRPF and ITBP, which the state governments are in favor. what the central government, the Home Ministry has done, they have already asked the views of all the state governments.
And then
then it can be notified.
My last question to you.
It has to be notified.
Sir, my last question to you, sir. As we move along, there is this concept of specialized forces. Do you think we need to do away with that system of specialized forces and bring in generalized forces so that everyone has similar powers and more or less can operate anywhere, everywhere, and can do internal security also, border guarding also, and if need be, assist the local police in emergency duties, in civil aid? Everyone does everything. Is that how it should be?
It's very difficult to answer your question because the challenges are different, and by and large it's only the central government which will be able to raise and train and maintain a force which is of a specialized nature. Like for example ITBP, they have got skill in high altitude areas.
Yes.
SSB was operating, now they are on the Nepal border. As he said very rightly, they have got their laws
In
gazetted.
place. No, my
I've
point
got
is
one particular point. which
specialization versus generalization, which
No, I will-
means
I will
essentially
apply
every service gets a chance to do same kind of job anywhere across the India. I'll come to you, Mr. Mishra.
Let him
Yes,
answer
sir,
this.
please.
Amritanshu, I'll give a reply to you to your question that the basic structure and basic role of the force will not change. As
It is
per
just additional.
It is the additional task, additional responsibility will be given. Because BSF has already been given additional charges of adjoining areas to the border under Passport Act and Foreign Act and all. So it is all additional jobs.
So
to be
basically
given.
what you're saying is that specialization will continue,
system will
but
continue.
this general pool should be created.
Exactly.
Okay, it's time for us. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on this discussion. It's time for us to end the show. You can email your suggestions and comments to law.rstv@gmail.com. You can also watch our shows on the YouTube. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.